Okay, let's look at 4 more examples. Example number 1, find an equation of a line that passes through the points -1, -4, and 3, 6. So the first thing I'm going to do is determine the slope of the line going through these 2 points. So difference of the y's over difference of the x's. So -4 minus 6, that's -10. -1 minus 3, that's -4. When you reduce this, you get a positive 5/2. Okay? Now, you could either use the point-slope form or the slope-intercept form. It doesn't make any difference. So if I used, let's say, this form, that's fine. This is what? This is the point-slope form. Okay? So just pick either one of these points. Doesn't matter which point you pick. Just choose one of these points. I'm going to go ahead and choose 3, 6, whatever. Okay, so using this form, it'd be y minus 6 is equal to the slope that we just came up with times x minus the x-coordinate of this point, which would be 3. All right, so now we'd get what? We're just going to isolate this for y. So we get this. Distributing the 5/2 through, 5/2 x minus 15/2. And then I'm going to add 6 to both sides, giving me y equal to 5/2 x, and then -15/2 plus 6. -15/2 plus 6. Well, plus 6 is the same as what? 12/2, right? So -15 over 2 plus 12 over 2 is -3 over 2. I can't draw 3. This is really embarrassing. I apologize. But there's your answer. There's the equation of a line. Now, if you wanted to do this a different way, you certainly are more than welcome to do so. And actually, I prefer the way I'm showing you right now, this way. I prefer to use slope-intercept form. All right? So here's what I'm going to do. What do I know? Well, I know I'm going to use this point. Okay, so I'm going to replace this y with a 6. And then I'm going to replace the slope with what I know it must be equal to, 5/2. Then I replace the x with a 3. And then what do we got to do here? Doing it this way, we have to do what? We have to solve what? Solve for b, okay? This is my preferred way of doing it. All right, so we get 6 equals 15/2 plus b. Now, if we subtracted 15/2 from both sides, 6 minus 15/2 would give us b equal to a -3/2. So therefore, the equation of our line would be what? Y equals what? We already know the slope. We already determined that earlier. So y equals 5/2 x. And then all we need now is the b value, which we just came up with. So -3/2, finished. That's the way I do most of these, but guys, it's 6 to 1, half a dozen to the other. Doesn't matter to me how you do it. Just be able to come up with an equation of a line based on the given information, okay? That is the bottom line, all right? No pun intended. I know I'm hilarious. All right, let's move on to the next example here. We want to try to figure out the equation of a vertical line through 6, -7. Well, that's easy if we understand hoi vux. Vertical lines are always in this form, okay? X equal to a real number. If you're only given one point, then this is the number you're going to use. This is your A, and this would be your B. So the answer would be x equals whatever the x-coordinate is. Done. That's it. So what if I change the question? Find an equation of a what? Of a horizontal line. What if I wanted to know what the equation would be of a horizontal line? Again, new example. Then it would always be what? Y equals what? Well, if you only have this given to you, that's all you know, it must be y equal to this y coordinate. Okay, so that answer would be that. All there is to it. All right, we're having fun here. All right, example 3. Find an equation of a line that passes through the point 2, 5 and is perpendicular to the line 3x plus 4y minus 22 equals 0. Well, the first thing we have to do here is understand what we're being asked. I mean, we're trying to come up with a line that's perpendicular to this line. And that line we're trying to come up with must go through this point. So our first move is going to be to come up with the slope of our given line. So the slope of our given line, all right, is going to be what? Well, if we understand this is in general form, you should just be able to look at it and determine that the slope is negative 3/4. All right, because it's negative what? Negative a over b. Now, if you didn't know that, you could come over here and say, all right, let's solve this equation for y. So we get 4y equals what? Negative 3x plus 22. And then when you divide everything by 4, you get this, negative 3/4 x. Dividing this by 4, 22/4 or 11/2. This is kind of irrelevant, all right? As long as this is not the same as the other one, then we're fine. Otherwise, the lines coincide. But anyway, our slope, regardless here, is how we do it. Regardless of how we do it, is negative 3/4, okay? So the slope of our given line is negative 3/4. We want our line to be perpendicular, though, through this, which means we're going to use what? We're going to use the negative reciprocal of this, right? And the negative reciprocal of negative 3/4 is positive 4/3. So we're going to use positive 4/3 and our given point of 2, 5. Now, again, the way I like to do this is to use y equals mx plus b, okay? I like to use slope-intercept form. So I'm going to plug in what I know. So y value 5, slope 4/3, x is 2. Now all I have to do is solve for b, okay? All I have to do now is solve for b. So let's go over here. We have 5 equal to what? 8/3. 8/3. Now I'm going to subtract off 8/3 from both sides. I'm going to subtract 8/3 from both sides, okay? So 5 minus 8/3 is what? Well, 5 is 15/3 minus 8/3, that's 7/3, okay? So b is 7/3. And so now we know what? The equation of our line is y equal to what? The slope we need to use, which is 4/3, times x, and then write in your b value. So plus whatever we just came up with, in other words, 7/3. And you're finished with example number 3. Example number 4, the last example, section 2.2. Find an equation of a line that passes through the origin, and the origin, by the way, is what? The origin is the order pair 0, 0, and is parallel, I want to make sure we understand that, parallel to the line passing through the points 2, 4 and 4, 7. All right, so what do we need to know? Well, we got to figure out, first of all, the slope going through these 2 points, 2, 4 and 4, 7. So let's figure that out. Difference of the y's, 7 minus 4. Whoa, 7 minus 4 over difference of the x's, 4 minus 2. Again, check your work here, check your setup. Do these two numbers come from the same ordered pair? The numbers that are aligned vertically? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Okay, we're good. So the slope here is 3/2. And because we're coming up with the equation of a line parallel to some other line, we're going to use the same slope, right? The slopes have to be equal. So we're going to use this. Now, if the line is going through the origin, then this is not only the x-intercept, but it's also the y-intercept, right? It's where the two axes meet. Okay, that's the origin. So this tells us that the y-intercept is what? The y-intercept is any point where x is 0, which it is here, and the y value is any other real number. So our y-intercept is 0. Therefore, our equation is just simply y equals 3/2 x plus 0. So it's just y equals 3/2 x. Hope you're staying well, and hope you're having fun. See you later.